Bonjour, bonjour, mes amis au Cotonou. Today I find myself in Benin, and this Cotonou. Hey, cock is still calling at this holy hour. So that's the main road just off there. What I've realized in Togo and Benin is that the roads are very wonderful. Like they have very nice dual carriages all over town, but once you drive off them into the inner lanes, it's just this way. So don't worry too much about it. And then it's not too far. You just go through one river down. I realized that they always have these very highly secured gates. I I think it's a good thing. I don't know whether they had a security risks of robberies and the like. What I knew they had was a lot of political issues when people get attacked and the like. But I don't know about the robbery incidences. And I like this kind of door. Look, this hand is so terrible. You can't really open from outside, but inside you have a handle you can just open. Outside you need a key, which is also a good thing. So this video I want to make a quick video about I'm just trying to open the door. Yes, I want to give you a checklist if you are finishing an Airbnb. Okay, what you should look out for, what you should put in place, what you should put in the house, and also share my experience here with you. So basically that's what I'm doing, you know. So behind me is so easy, so straightforward. They've put in this electricity meter. So every unit has its own electricity meter. Now what happens is that, especially when you are building, you think the house is for me. Why should I wire it for separate meters? Just do it, because you are not going to live forever and your children are not going to be happy together forever. Okay. Once some people don't even get the opportunity to die and live before their children fight over their properties. But certainly after you are gone, they are going to fight. So even if you want to leave it for your children, it's good to just have every unit on its own meter. The second one, if it's an investment unit, then each person can be responsible for his own. Sorry, but Africans don't like to work together. So if everyone can pay for his own and be responsible for his own, then there is established equity. Okay, so your electricity meters should be separate, and then your water meters should be separate. Now, another thing that can happen is if you have a troublesome tenant, you can just turn his own off, okay? Or if he refuses to pay, then he's the only one who loses the privilege of using the water, okay? And you can also monitor consumption. Like when I get to the room, I'll show you an experience I've had, which is both good and bad, okay? So all this stuff come into place to make your experience or your management really good. So I like this place. This is the Togolese culture. Apartments are built and then ample space for parking beneath. Okay, it's secured. There's another gate before you go to the top. And then a lot of drainage falling into this place, which I don't like too much. But it's okay. And then the septic tanks are here with a well on one end. So if you need water, you can actually use it, which is also okay. But I think they usually have issues of, they have a rising dam issue, and it's simple. I think Cotonou also has a unique issue like Accra, because it's a shoreline, okay, it's close to the beach. So it's lowland areas, and then when it rains, the water is just all over the place. So if you build here, you have to really elevate the building and isolate the building from the ground. Otherwise, you will have that dam issue, which is very expensive to do. And the French building technology actually does not fight it, okay? So let me just show you this place quickly. There are security cameras all over. So there are some people on this side. I think these are bigger units. Oh, sorry. Some guys on this side think these are bigger units. Some on the other side than this place. And I think this place is available for both long stay and short stay. Okay. Yeah, and I think they are both furnished units and unfurnished units. So yeah, the pipes to the AC that I left there are not the best. I think AC at this place was an afterthought, by which they had just piped all of them. Okay, but that's going to be very expensive to do. And the first one is a floor mat. I'm commending this one because in front of the washroom there is no floor mat, which is bad. Okay, so always put floor mat so that when people come, you can just do like this, especially in Africa that things are not too much. Fantastic. So this is the hall. Let me show you a nicer view of the hall so that you can appreciate it better. I like this hall. I like the sofa. You can see my pillow in there. I like to sleep in sofa, so I spend the night in the sofa. I don't know why, but this makes me feel good. In this town, there is a lot of liquor. So they decorate the place with a lot of liquor. So what that does is, for people who are into liquor, you can actually have like a wine shelf and then people open it at a charge and they're like, okay. And it has a lot of like lighting stuff, like, which is interesting. You can use to change the ambience in case you want to have some other kind of experience. This one is too much light. Okay, and it's interesting that the ceiling is red and yellow. That's the color for food. I don't know why it's interesting, but I don't know why. I think it's missing a steady. It's good to have a steady at this kind of places. If you could have a steady in the corner, that would be great. The painting is interesting. It's not very new to me. It's not very common in Ghana, but it's some kind of acrylic painting. The good thing about this kind of painting is that it doesn't get dirty easily and it's washable. So you don't have painting crisis. Okay, so I think it's a good thing if you are doing like a commercial space, because commercial spaces get dirty very easily and people will complain so much. And yeah, now I think the hall needs a little bit of storage space. It had like a TV console where you can put some stuff there. That would be nice. And it's missing an Wi-Fi, which is okay. Not everywhere has a Wi-Fi, but if you had Wi-Fi, that would have been great. Yeah. And then I like this thing. This is a hallway. Usually, these places at homes is just open like this, including my house, so that you can probably just enter the kitchen or enter the bedroom and the like bar. I realized that this place had this. Now, the good thing about it is that if you have something like this, so if you have a house just connected like that, you need something like this so that you can isolate the room. Because if the AC is on here and you keep this door open, the AC is going to keep running, the thermostat will not trip, and then that's going to burn out your light, okay, or it's going to cost you more for light. And usually tenants don't really care too much about this kind of stuff. So if you give them the opportunity to isolate the rooms, then they can save some more money for you, which is a good thing. Okay, so you do the curtains and the like are great. Missing here, I don't really mind, but I know people really want it. Your curtains should be able to black out the room, okay? So always going for curtains that can black out the room. The only thing that is aiding the light here is this. So if there were a curtain here, then the whole room can actually be black. Let's just check it out. Now, what that does is, some people are allergic to the light. Are they like the devil? Okay, so I'm trying to black out the room. Fantastic. Okay, so the only source of light is that curtain. So if that curtain was so even thicker, you can black out the room. It's good for folks like me. Sometimes I like it just to ease my eyes off the light and the like. And then sometimes it's good for intimate moments. Some people would rather have the light out before intimate moments. Or other times, when I'm sleeping as well, you don't want distraction, too much distraction. Okay, so you should be able to black out rooms. I like it if I'm able to black out my room. So usually when I'm like on vacation or I'm feeling so lazy, I don't want to even know that it's morning. So the day and the night both look the same. Okay, So that's a good thing. Now let me show you the kitchen. It's got a fridge, which is okay, that I didn't power, I hardly use. I hardly use the TV too, okay? And it's got plates for serving and a few stuff. You should have a knife. So it's missing a knife. You should always have a knife when you are finishing cutlery. You should always have a knife. Spoon set, but you should always have a knife, okay? Because usually that one is missing. And then I told you these people take a lot of wine, so it's just wine glass. I bought this water myself. So there's another thing that is that depending on the level of service you want to give, that you involve some of this stuff. I realize that this place is a minimum service place. As much as they have a cleaner and a security, there are people here who are staying for longer stays, and usually they don't need a lot of these things. So shorter stays require a lot of issues, and the longer stays don't want a lot of this stuff to be provided because it becomes very expensive. The other thing is that the cost. This room is very, very affordable. Like this room is 600 cities a night, $60 a night, right? That's so affordable. Like so affordable for what I see here. Like a whole bedroom and a hall with a kitchen, okay, in the middle of the city. Okay, so you should look at that. So this is a gas stove, which is good with enough mattresses, okay, which is good. The only problem that I have is that as much as it is isolated, I think it's too close to it. Okay, as much as it's isolated, I think it's too close to it. Okay, and this is a grinding stone. Back in the days, this is what we used to grind. So a blender is missing and they have this, so it's a cultural issue. And then a frying pan, which is great, and then cooking pans. And then I realized that they have a bottle trap, which is good, but they drain it downwards. Ghana, we drain into the wall, which is interesting. Okay, it's a nicely fitted kitchen, but I think there are a few things missing in the kitchen. I don't know whether it's cultural. I have to visit a few other kitchens, and a lot of times French eat out, so they don't really need sophisticated kitchen. So you can say that the kitchen is tight as well. So it's a cultural issue. But if you are doing this other places, especially since my viewers are more English and Ghanaian inclined, you need the top closet. Okay, for storage, you need more storage. And this is so high up, I don't know why, but extractors are good. It's a new technology, but there's a lot of windows here, so it shouldn't be an issue. But extractor is a good thing to have. Now, there are a few things that are missing. Blender is missing, but because of the grinding stuff, they have an excuse. Then heater, kettle. Kettle is something you really need for people who do a lot of tea and who can bath cold water. You need kettle, okay? The microwave. If you're not eating out, if you have some food, you bring it back home, you freeze it, you get a microwave. Now, some people don't like microwave because of health hazard issues. They can probably use an oven or just heat it on the fire, but microwave is something that should really be here, okay? Then they don't have a laundry, which is not really an issue for short stay folks, but if you are doing a checklist for an Airbnb, it's good to have a laundry, okay? So that is also a good thing to have. Okay, so if you do that, then your kitchen is becoming more and more furnished and sufficient, okay? So that your guests have a wonderful time and then they can come again and then they can recommend you. You get it? So let me take you to the bedroom. So this is the bedroom. I think the bed is too big for what it was planned for. The bedroom is pretty tight, and this is a queen size bed. But queen size bed is okay. People like queen size bed. In case you have a fight with your spouse at night, you can just separate each other with pillows. There were 2 pillows. I took one to the hall. It's good to have 4 pillows if the bed is this big, okay? My generation likes more pillows, so it's just good to have it. Your guests will be happier with you. It's not too bad. And then comfort things is the best pillow. I like the fact that the bedroom doesn't have too many stuffs. This is how bedroom should be. There's a place to sleep and then storage. Okay, I don't encourage people putting TVs in bedrooms. It's not a healthy habit. So It's not going to be me asking to put a TV in the bedroom. Okay. And then the first place is a place for hanging, which is good. But I think this should not be here because when you hang clothes, this can take a shirt, but it can't take suits and other stuff. So you need more room for that. I'm glad that they use this mirror stuff, so you don't need have a mirror issue. Okay, but if there are ladies in the room, then they need a dressing place. Oh, this are my stuff. Okay, so this other place with all the stuff in there is good. So I kept my stuff there. Okay, so is if the room were bigger, you have a place for ladies, but I don't think ladies would need that much if they are on the go. But for long stays, okay, they need like a dressing enclave for the ladies. Now, the washroom, I realized that the washroom was missing a lot of stuff, so I'll show you quickly. In Africa, we have water crisis, so it's good to always have a bucket and a pail, okay? And so that the person can fetch water if he has water crisis. And then this is the shower. It's okay. But this is the first issue. I think the WC is too close to the shower. So when you bath, you bless the WC with a lot of water, which is not the best. And two people cannot exactly use this place at the same time, which is also not the best. Okay. And I also think there should be a floor mat here. Okay, so that I don't carry water from the bathroom into the bedroom. Okay, so you need a floor mat, which is a good thing to have. Okay, now this is a good thing. Light in front of the mirror. Okay, which is very good. Then what's this mirror, which is good. Then this is where you wash your hands, right? It's good. But it was missing the tea roll and the soap. So now let's talk about accessories. I realized that all the accessories were missing. I think some were once there and they got broken and not serviced. I can tell from here. But let me give you a list of the accessories to put. So beside the toilet, you should have the holder for the toilet roll, and preferably the one that you can put something on it. I'll try to film a higher end room in this country before I leave so that you can see how much service it is. Okay. Then it's good to have towel holders. It's good to have at least two so that you can have towels on one side and probably sponges on one side. Okay. This is good for the soap. Okay. And then if possible, you need a storage area. So usually it's by the hand wash basins. Nowadays you can see that there's the one with the design where you can keep stuff, so you can keep extra towels, extra soaps, and those stuff. Highly serviced rooms come with towel, okay, soap, and towel, soap, and what? Tea rolls, okay. But the less service places don't have that, okay. So another thing about the washroom is this brush. You really need it, and then you need a dustbin, okay, a dustbin, because if you don't have a dustbin, people will flash tears, people will flash condoms, people will flash sanitary pads, and you're going to have a tough time with your this thing. How is it called? You're gonna have a tough time with your system, your WC and the septic tank at the back. So it's good to have a dustbin even in the washroom, no matter how much you believe in flashing TOs down the drain, okay? And I think WCs, try to get the best WCs, because sometimes this, you realize that you flash and the water keeps running. If that happens, your water bill is going to be really, really terrible. So always get the best, and if you are flashing and it's not stopping, you need to quickly fix it or replace it so that you can save more water. The newer ones save a lot more water. This is for small business and this is for big business. So you can probably use just 2 liters to flash pee and 6 liters to flash poo, which is much better. So if you have a place with older WCs, change it. And then this, back to this, if you have the WC, the shower, and the water is not flowing much, it means that it's not tropicalized, because abroad where they have high rises, the pressure that is coming is so high. So the nozzles of this are usually smaller, okay, to ease the pressure that is coming on you. So you should buy the very, very tropicalized one. The ones made for African markets have much bigger nozzles so that the water can come through. People say, oh, you just put a pump on it. It's okay. You can put a 2,000 cedi pump on it, but when you put a pump, then you have to pay for electricity. Then the water will not flow at all when the pump is off or when the lights are out, as we always have in Africa. So it's something you need to be mindful of. And if possible, have two light sources, not just one, so that when it goes bad, the other one can work. Okay, and I recommend LED lights. And I don't encourage people keeping their toothbrush in the washroom, but I see that people put toothbrush holders. So if it's me, I'll ask you toothbrush holders in the washroom so that people don't leave their toothbrushes here. But there are technologies now that make it able to cover it and the stuff, but still, washrooms are not very clean places. So as much as possible, you need to isolate them. Our generation is at a risk of a lot of infection and contamination, because before now, washrooms were farther from bedrooms. You see, in your bedroom, you are in your weakest state. Like, you have bathed, you are tired, you are asleep, you are naked. So if you're so close to the washroom, especially if it's not a private one, this one seems private, but in case there is any form of contamination, okay, you come home, you carry all the dirt all through the bedroom into the washroom, you wash it down, then you just sleep by it. You are exposed to a lot of infection. So you have to really look at that, okay? Yeah, so I'm doing this top of my head. There is actually a balcony here, and beyond the balcony is a very uncompleted site, okay? Which when I was filming this place, I said, Jesus said, the poor always be with you. That's another challenge. This can be solved with the ground rent and property rate law, which Africans have fought so hard, but it's a good thing. Development should face together. So once the area is developed, if you can't develop your own, you have to let it go so that someone else does it. And people want to hold on to projects they can't finish, and it's not a healthy thing. One day I might get the money and come on. No, you sell it, you get the money, you get the liquid cash. You need to go start a smaller project you can finish somewhere, so that you don't hold on to foundations and uncompleted buildings, okay? And then sometimes it's a structural issue. I used to do a lot of campaign about the issue of uncompleted buildings, okay? Once the owner gets cash trapped, you should liquidate it for half the money. Half the money is better than an uncompleted building, okay? So that the city can grow. Otherwise, the whole city is just a piece of construction site. So that is also good. There are fans all over the place. Fans and ACs, but I think the bedroom is not very well ventilated, which is bad. And the fan was an afterthought. The AC was an afterthought. This is practically the only window to the bedroom. Okay, so that is bad. So I think the design here is not very good. If you are designing a bedroom, especially the apartment base, the two sides are taken. Okay, so you shouldn't fit the washroom at this place. Okay, I think because of the kitchen, they scrambled a lot of things in here, so the bedroom has no ventilation. You always get ventilation. Actually, by law or by best practice, you need a minimum of two windows into bedrooms, okay, and two into halls if possible. So if you are not able to achieve two, at least there should be one that if you open the door, the wind can run through the door and then out through the other side. It's a health issue. When you do that, the air can now run through, and the air is being changed so that the air doesn't become saturated, especially if you have guests and those stuff. There's a risk of respiratory diseases, there's a risk of other form of suffocation. So you see that when you enter the room, it becomes stuffy. You get it? So always make sure that air can move all the way through from one side to the other side, so that you always have a wind, okay? You always have wind. Wind is healthy. Now, if not that, then you need ACs, okay, on. And it's a sophisticated technology. The ACs have a way they take out the air and replace it with new air. It pumps in new air. The old air goes through the vent, comes out as water at the back. So if the place is not very well ventilated, you put AC. So there's an AC, okay. But the other thing in Africa is that AC is expensive. So Even if though you are putting in an AC, try to have some good ventilation. That one is decoration. I can't get to even open it. Okay, that means I have to open the door, which is a security risk. Okay, so but that's not why I don't stay in the. That's not why I don't stay in the bedroom. It's just that I like sleeping in the hall. And this is also a very good thing. I didn't realize this. So this is good when you are staying for longer and you do your laundry, you can dry it on it. So it's a good thing to also have. And balcony should always have a drain. Otherwise, you have a big problem with drainage. Now let me show you. And so someone is building this. It's not completed. You will come and complete it. These are crutches or squatters. And that's a nice building completed. Another one uncompleted foundation. And I can tell that for so long now. The other challenge is this. Why do buildings not get completed? Usually it's budget. People have some more money. They believe they can start a big project and do it small to the finish. You are frustrating your cash flow. You are freezing that money in an asset that is not liquid. A lot of people argue in my comments when I say that when they want to sell it, they can sell for a lot of money. Yes, that is real estate. Real estate, you are making money from two things: appreciation of your asset, okay, and then the other one is when you are making money from the cash flow, okay, rental earnings, okay, which is more like equity. So if all you are earning from is appreciation, you are shooting yourself in the foot because you could have actually be earning rent. Okay, so it's something you should think about as well. So when you are building, always plan to finish a building in 2 years. If it takes more than 2 years, it's not a good plan. So always make sure that you have enough money to finish a building in 2 years, or you are expecting enough money to finish in 2 years. Now the problem is the expectant money. If it doesn't come, then you have an uncompleted project. It's better to have a small project finished than to have a big uncompleted project. Okay, so let's be deliberate about that as well. And with time, you will get capable to be able to build more and more bigger and interesting structures. Okay, then there is the inflation of cost of construction, which is very high in Africa. It's about 20%. So if you don't finish within 2 years, it's going to cost you 2 times more to build. Literally, okay, so you will not be able to use the asset, and then your calculations get frustrated. Okay, that's also another thing. But there are other issues, sometimes legal issues, sometimes death. The person just dies. Usually political issues are a lot in Africa as well. The social issues are there. Okay, so it might not be entirely the fault of the person. He probably had it all figured out, but his party is no longer in power. The money he was stealing is no longer coming. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate your time. I hope it was good enough, and share with someone who is interested in real estate. I believe this video is a good one. Looking at the father, I'm talking about things you need to put in place, and I've spoken a little bit about the finance at the end. Okay, let me know your thoughts and share your ideas. I like to learn. I've learned more from my videos than I've learned in a lot of other places, because people make comments that draw my attention to a lot of other things. So I appreciate that. I'm so sorry that I spoke English in a French land. Subsequently in life, if I get a chance to come to this life again, I'll take my French classes more seriously. But Ashanti, à demain in my next video. C'est vrai. Voilà.